Hello and welcome to a special edition of Tuesday's 10-Minute Topic. Today we are talking about the mindful athlete with author, meditation coach, and mindful expert George Mumford. George, thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thank you. And I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate you inviting me.
Some of you, probably a lot of you, have heard of George. His book, The Mindful Athlete, is an incredible resource for athletes of all ages and skill levels. George has extensive experience working with Olympic athletes, collegiate teams. He may be best known for his success in working with the Bulls and the Lakers during their championship runs, specifically by helping star players Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant refine their mental game. Jordan credits Mumford with transforming his on-court leadership skills. And after reading his book, I can tell you it has also changed the way I'm going to parent my athletes. George, really, thank you for being here. Let's get right into it. And I know all kinds of research exists today about the benefits of mindfulness. It helps reduce stress, increase memory, cognitive function, treat and prevent depression, so much more. But what does it do for athletes?
It does all of those things because an athlete is a person, and they have all of the issues that all human beings have is how to deal with stress, how to deal with distractions, how to be focused, how to develop poise or be the eye of the hurricane in the middle of chaos. Also, how to be present for life, and how to not only be present but be able to see and behave or act or make wise choices, and to be able to push through and to deal with discomfort or unpleasant situations. They happen. We can't control them. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes.
But what about these youth athletes, George? You've worked with some of the best, the most elite, the most successful. Right. Is mindfulness something that our young athletes should start, and what should they do?
So you can look at the title, The Mindful Athlete, and you can replace athlete with the mindful mother. That's what you do, the mindful parent, the mindful coach, the mindful sister, the mindful daughter, the mindful husband, mindful wife. You can just put in the description. You can take out athlete and put anything in there. But on some level, and it's interesting because we had the Boston Marathon a couple of days ago here. I believe it was April 16th. And I like to look at life as a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so just like these marathoners that came here and ran, and they had to run in cold and wet conditions, not optimal, but life is like a marathon. And if you don't train, you won't finish the race, or you might start off too fast or too slow. So I look at life as a marathon. So we have to train ourselves for the marathon of life, for showing up day in, day out. And unlike sports, we don't have a beginning, a middle, and end. We have a beginning, but we don't know what the end is going to be or when it's going to be. So we have to keep chugging along day by day, starting over again, and just really making today, as Coach John Wooden would say, make today your masterpiece. How do we do that? So that we have to train ourselves for life. We have to train ourselves to be able to live more fully, more creatively from moment to moment. And the way we do that is we have to start to look at the self-observation, and be able to look at how we are behaving, what habit patterns, what addictions, what habits do we have to prevent us from being present, and that we have an experience. So can we learn from that experience and not act like the next experience we have is going to be the same as the one we had previously, where we're not just recreating what we've already experienced, but actually recreating something new and amazing.
So how do you take those big ideas and break that down to, let's say it's my 10-year-old? How
Yes.
do you translate when you're working with younger athletes?
Yes.
How do you speak to those things to the younger kids?
Yeah, so teach them how to just be present, to be in their body, to feel their body and to feel their breath, and just to really understand that how am I going, what do you focus on? Just talking to them about doing the simple thing like belly breathing, and being able to breathe in and out. And then when they feel stressed or they feel like that things are overwhelming for them, they can step back and just just breathe and say, okay, everything's going to be okay. And what am I supposed to be doing? And then just direct the thought, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to be doing my homework, even though I'm tired, or I'd rather be outside playing. Wait a minute, I have to do first things first. So I have to learn how to have at least a little bit of discipline that helps me to realize that I have to take responsibility for myself, and I have to learn that my mind may not be my friend all the time, but I can actually train myself to just to breathe and to be present and to think about how I'm feeling and how I'm going to relate to those feelings. So one of the things I have to do is talk to adults like my mom, like my dad, like my teacher, and talk to them about how I'm feeling. Or if I'm struggling with homework, like I don't know how to do this math problem, how do I step back and say, okay, so I asked the teacher, I asked my parents or whomever how to do it, but then I have to learn how to do it and not just take the information, but actually understand what process or how does it work. So I really want to understand, how does 1 + 1 = 2, or 1 × 3 = 3? How do I do that? So I have to learn that there's basic trial and error process that I go through, and understand that I'm going to make mistakes, but I learn from my mistakes. And the idea is to have fun, to maybe bring joy to discovery, and realizing that it's going to be okay. And when I don't feel good, or I feel unpleasant, or I feel anxious, how do I deal with that? Part of it is just breathing, but also part of it is talking to an adult and figuring out what's going on and how you can teach me, so that the next time it happens that I won't be overwhelmed. I'll just say, oh, okay, I dealt with this before. I know what this is, and mom told me how to relate to it. It's going to be fine.
So what you're saying too, and it's interesting, I keep asking about sport, and what's becoming very apparent is that life and sport are the same. So if you're teaching a kid how to do that on the field or court, they're going to need to learn how to do that and practice that in everything they're doing throughout the day.
That's right. So having trust or faith in things, but verifying it with know-how or understanding, and asking questions and inquiring, investigating, is the same for how I learn how to do math problems, or how I learn how to develop a skill in a sport. It's going to be the same thing, but the qualities of mine are going to be the same. Like I'm going to have at least enough confidence or trust in the process in myself and who's teaching me. Have enough faith so that I'll listen and understand what they're doing, and I'll make the effort. I won't quit. I won't repress. I'll know that, okay, I need to do something, but I need to understand what I need to do and why I'm doing it, so that I teach myself how to problem solve. That's one thing. How to see things and look at them in a way where you say, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I can go ask, or I can figure it out. So it's the same thing. So in sports, it's different because we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's say if it's a game or a season, the end. Life is not like that. So we may have to learn how to manage each moment or each day. And maybe we talk about the next week or the next month, but ultimately is, how do I get through today? Not just to get through it, but how do I embrace today in a way where I feel like I've learned something? Is how I relate to that struggle, how I relate to it in a way where I'm responding to it and not getting just acting out, or just acting like, okay, it's never going to be, it's always going to be like this. I can't learn. I'm stupid. All of those negative self-talk cues that we're giving ourselves, that we change that and say, no, I don't understand it now, but this is something for me to learn. So we start to understand that how we think about things, how we approach things is really helpful.
And creating that space between you and that problem, right? Or the issue that you're dealing with, taking just a moment sometimes.
Stepping back and just watching, just step back and say, okay, what's going on here? Or what's, so we have to create space where we step back and we can observe our experience. One thing we can do is self-observe. We can step back and just watch and just take a time out and say, okay, what's going on? And what am I supposed to be doing? And then refocus, the restart. It's this idea of mistakes are just feedback. But it's really understanding that you can step back and you can observe what's going on in a way where you create space between stimulus and response, and then you get to redo it and teach them how to be in the moment and how to, do error correction, but also start to think about, well, what am I doing and why? And am I really here, or am I thinking about something else? So sometimes kids get excited and their energy's out here. We need to bring the energy back into the body so that they're actually moving and they're not ahead of themselves. And so once they realize, oh, I'm out here, okay, come back, okay, start over again, and just, just be present, but you got to practice that muscle. Maybe it's just doing one thing at a time and just being really focused on that thing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like sitting in silence, although that's helpful. It could be something as simple as just sitting and then just working on your math problem. Then you do English later, or you do your history or whatever, just teaching them how to do one thing at a time, and to talk to them about, ask them how they're seeing things. And, if they have any challenges, or, how do you feel? You feel uncomfortable, you feel comfortable. And, part of life is, in learning a new thing, is you're going to feel uncomfortable until you get comfortable. So when you start something new and you address something, so we want them to start to realize that it's about learning, it's about seeing what happens, and then making a wise choice or decision about how you're going to respond to it.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because you go into that in your book quite a bit, and it's really helpful and interesting, and you translate it directly to being on the court or in practice, and that is being uncomfortable. If you're not an athlete who's willing to be uncomfortable, you're probably not going to see a lot of growth. That's
right. And you're not going to increase your capacity. So you'll be really good at doing one thing, but if you want to keep up with change and you want to keep up, you need to be matriculating or moving forward, getting better. And one way we do that is we keep pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. So we know that. So if you want to learn how to run, let's say if you're playing, we'll use physical activity. So you run, so maybe you can run for 30 seconds before you get tired. So then you got to learn how to run 35, 40 seconds. And when you're running, you're puffing, you're breathing hard and everything, and your heartbeat is up. But what will happen is, if you keep doing that, your body will adjust to the new level. So that you actually can do the same thing. And now you're not huffing and puffing because you built up the stamina. You've trained yourself to get stronger. And so it's the same thing mentally as well, is that you have this place where it's uncomfortable, but you don't have to push way beyond it. Just be with the discomfort, and then push beyond it so that you actually get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you realize, oh, this is part of it. It's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable before it gets comfortable. But a lot of times we experience something like discomfort. It's always going to be this way, and it's to be avoided. Rather than to open up to it and say, no, it's telling us where our capacity is, and we're going to move a little bit beyond that. And the brain works that way. Neuroplasticity works that way. It's in increments, but it has to be hard to do, but doable. And that's when we get the edge. That's how we grow. That's what growth is about. Let go and grow, and keep pushing, but with compassion, with like the hare and the tortoise. Slow motion gets you there quicker. You don't have to do it a lot, just a little bit, just a little discomfort, and you be with that. And then you say, okay. And so what will happen is they'll develop what we call strong self-efficacy belief, where they realize it doesn't matter what happens, it's my attitude towards, or how I respond to it. And I always want to respond to it with integrity. I say, I want to be a loving person. I want to be compassionate. I want to be present. I want to be really good at what I do. So that means that you have to train yourself to be in the moment and to recognize that you're going to make mistakes, but it's how you learn from those mistakes, and that you are not those mistakes. They're just an event. So you start to learn on any level. If you start to learn for learning's sake, because the joy of discovery is more enjoyable than not getting what you want right away. So you just start to develop some patience, some discipline, and in the moment you're enjoying it because you're present, and you realize, okay, this is what's going on, and I can embrace it, and I can just be with it. So it becomes a flow. right? Life becomes a flow. It's just, you just get in the wave, wherever the current is taking you, you just stay in there and you go, and then you can ease to the side when you need to get out of it. But it's really understanding that you have a masterpiece inside of you. You're wired for success.
And you make the choice. If something is gonna, you take the control back instead of letting things make you on the roller coaster.
That's right.
You're going with your flow.
Yeah, and you let your mom and dad and your teachers and your coaches teach you the right thing, and they'll help you. They'll push you. They're going to push you out of your comfort zone because they want you to grow. But at the same time, you have to take responsibility for it and not see it as a curse, but seeing it as somebody's really helping you. So it's like delaying gratification, because that's one of the things we know from the research that determines whether a person's social and emotional skills are adequate for the challenge of life. You probably heard of the marshmallow test they gave years ago. I don't know if they're what age they are, but they say, okay, you can have one marshmallow now, or if you wait, I'll give you two later. And the ones that could wait, delay gratification and wait for the second one, when they followed them 15 years later, the ones that couldn't wait are the ones that have the issues, the social and emotional issues, versus the other ones who are thriving and really comfortable with developing patience and discipline and delaying instant gratification for the long haul.
Yep, that's right. And, lastly, I don't want to take up your whole day, although I find this fascinating, could talk to you literally all day. What about for us parents? I don't know if you have grandkids or kids or I'm sure you work with a lot of kids and parents. The parents have gotten pretty crazy and out of control. It's one of the reasons we have the website.
Yes.
What sort of, is there some sort of practical advice? I don't know, a saying we could say in our heads before we go out and watch our kids play, or anything to help the parents kind of step back? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's very similar to what you've been saying all along, but we're all really so wrapped up in our kids' sports these days.
Yeah. Yes. If you want to learn something, teach it. So you have to be the message. So if you want your kids to be calm, you have to be calm. If you want your kids to have patience, you have to be patient. If you want your kids to be disciplined, you have to be disciplined, because they're still on a nonverbal level. So we have to embody it. And so one of the things that is challenging sometimes is, so when I go in and work with an organization, I don't just go in and work just with the players. I got to work with the coaches and administrative staff. So when I work with individual clients, it's helpful for me to work with their parents as well.
Right.
And of course, they want to emulate you anyway. So if you're doing the right thing, and if you are understanding that if I'm going to learn mindfulness, if my kids are going to learn mindfulness, I have to learn it. And so this is the thing that I've struggled with for years with coaches. They say, okay, the players need it, but the coaches don't need it. Oh, no, you both need it. And because by you saying you don't need it and the players need it, you're telling them that it's not that important.
That's right.
And there's not a commitment to it. So you just do it because I told you to, but it's not because I believe in it. So when you believe in it, so it's being parents, it's a tough job knowing when to hold, when the baby in them and when to let go. So you start, so I would say talking to them and getting a sense for how they're feeling and how they're seeing things, but also you have to be the message. So you say, okay, I want you to work with George and do mindfulness. Okay, so I have to be doing my own mindfulness so that I know, and maybe it's one of those things where we talk about and they realize, oh yeah, as a parent, I lose my cool, but I don't act on it. I just like this, and then I say, okay, then I move on and do the other thing. So if we try to act like we're perfect and that we don't make mistakes and we don't do that, then that's it. They can't emulate that. It's tough love. So it's compassion with it, but you hold them to a standard.
Right.
You hold them to be responsible. So you're not going and saying, okay, my kid is this way, coach, you need to play them anyway. No, they don't deserve to play, or they're a role player. You have to tell them, okay, I'm not going to go talk to the coach. I'm going to tell you, what do you need to improve in, or what does a team need so that you can go out there and perform. So I used to work with this field hockey team, and we used to have field hockey matches on the turf in the football field. and it's one young lady, she was a senior, and in those days I sat in the stand so the parents would come over and talk to me and hang out and whatever, and she came to me and said that she was upset her daughter was a senior, didn't play. I said, okay, so just have her come see me the next day. And so when the daughter came to see me and she was complaining, 99.9% of the complaints about playing time, my son should be starting, my daughter should be starting, or whatever. And so when I talked to her, I said, you got to make the coach play you. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you got to ask, well, what does the team need? Are you willing to play multiple positions? Are you practicing hard so that on some level the coach says, okay, she's practicing hard, she's making plays in practice. When I put her on the field, and then when she gets on the field, when you come off, the coach has to say, do it better with her out there. Mm-hmm. And so I changed her and said, you take responsibility and you put in more work and you make plays. That's what you have to do. And then you'll play. And she did that, and she ended up playing a lot different position, but taking her out of the victim mode and having mommy or daddy go and tell the coach, you got to play my daughter. Instead of saying, no, okay, so you got to earn your playing time. Mm-hmm. And you got to make the coach play you. How do you make the coach play you? By making plays and making it obvious that when you're out there, the team is better.
Leaving no doubt. That's what I always tell my kids.
Yes.
Don't leave a doubt, and then there won't be any conversation.
Right. And even if you're not starting, and if you're out there in crunch time, who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly. But you're going to be out there when it matters, and that's what it is. So get out of this frame that I got to be a starter or I got to be doing this. No, just you want to play. You want your team to win. So sometimes helping your team win is pushing your teammates in practice. Mm-hmm. But what will happen is when you're doing that, the coach is you're going to get playing time. You'll play. So the best way to play is not try to play. Just do the right thing and keep getting better and being supportive and keep asking yourself, how can I help my team? How can I make players around me better? So it's a certain level of courageous initiative, I would call it.
Like it.
That would allow you to keep growing and evolving. So let's say you play for a team and you never get on the field, but you're pushing people and you're helping your teammates get better. So when you leave high school and you go to college, you're going to be a better whatever you do, because you've developed this ability to help others and to just not do it in order to start or in order to be rewarded. No, I'm doing it because it's what I do and I enjoy doing it, and it's the right thing.
And we will end on that. George, so much wisdom in our conversation today. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Maybe we'll get you back another time if you'll do it. If anyone would like more information or George's book, The Mindful Athlete, I highly recommend it, not just for the athletes, but I'm telling you for a parent as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm also offering, if you go to my website, georgemumford.com, there'll be all kinds of offering. We're going to offer something like private coaching for coaches and parents and executives and stuff like that. There's one other thing is, I need to know what parents need. I need to know what coaches need, how I can help, and where the struggles are with them and their coaches, so that feedback would be helpful also. So now when I develop programs, it'll be with that in mind.
Great. Well, let everyone who's listening to this, put it in the comment section. I'll make sure George gets all the comments. He can address those in future talks, or if you work with him, he's incredible. George, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.